All right, so welcome back. So we're kind of switching gears in the course now. So we've been doing a lot of app engine things and learning about backends and designing data store models and all that. Um, Now we're going to kind of switch gears and focus a little bit more on fundamental learning, right? So we do the data store stuff first, the app engine stuff first, because you've got to have it for your projects. You need these skills. And to be honest, with like things you might have picked up in other places like Codecademy and the things we've taught you, you can make some pretty cool projects. But to be honest, I want to make sure that you leave this course with good fundamentals, right? So we're going to go through some fundamentals, specifically with CSS and with JavaScript, and to make sure that you really just understand these things well. And so to do that, we're going to do a lot of static files. So you can learn about CSS without like having a backend at all. You just need a file, right? But we also need some way to turn in files. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make an app engine app that really just serves our static files, and it gives us a way to turn them in for grading, right, is what it's really all about. It's also an opportunity to try to give you a way to like make a portfolio of all your work in this class, right? So you can have links to like everything you did in App Engine, and then because this App Engine will serve the static files, it can have links to those as well. So what we're going to actually start with is we're going to start by setting up that static file server. I also call it WebDev links. So let's go ahead and learn about what we're going to be setting up. So what you're going to be doing is ultimately you're going to be making a website that is your username hyphen webdev. So you can see it's a very high level thing. .appspot.com. If I go ahead and go to mine, you can see that it kind of looks like this, right? So it's got kind of the App Engine track, and I can click on these links, right? And it'll go to the movie quotes for Fisher DS. And then if I say back, I can go to weather picks. So you can see it's kind of a portfolio of all the different things I've done. My guest book, things like this. And then it's also going to be where we start putting things. So like for the CSS track, the first thing we're going to do later in this unit is some HTML basics, right? And so you can see that these are kind of different files and that there's like 10 little files called exercises. And these are all just static files that are going to be served from this app engine. So let's go ahead and start doing it, right? So the first thing you need to do is you need to go visit console.developers.google.com. And then once you're over here, you're going to create a new project. You can call it WebDev links, or you could call it static file server. Either name is acceptable. And it should be, your username hyphen WebDev. So go ahead and create that. I've already created it, so I'm actually just going to hit cancel. And so that's step number one, is to create that. The next thing I want you to do is you're not going to write it from scratch. So you're going to go to this GitHub repo. So go ahead and open up the slides and go to this GitHub repo. Once you're at this site, you can go and click on download zip. I mean, if you're a real geek, you can clone it, but a zip should be fine. I'm just going to throw it in a folder that I use for this class. Once you've downloaded it, of course, the next step is to extract it. So I'm just going to extract it, extract all. And then, to be honest, I'm just going to delete the zip file because I don't need that anymore. So now I've got this folder called WebDev links. You have to be careful because sometimes it likes to make a folder within a folder. Personally, I don't need a folder within a folder. So I'm going to just get rid of that lower level through whatever mechanism you like, right? Excellent. So now I've got a folder, and as soon as I go into it, it's got all these projects. What I want to do is I want to go create a new project in Eclipse based on this folder. So I'm going to do the same things I always do. I'm going to right click in this area. I'm going to say new project, PyDev Google App Engine project. I'm going to specify that I'm not using the default, and I'm going to browse to that folder. So make sure that you grab the folder that's got an app.yaml inside of it, which I could tell from the templates. And I'm going to call this WebDev static files. I can't ever decide whether to call it WebDev links or WebDev static files because it's doing both purposes. So you never know what name I'm going to give it. Browse for your App Engine libraries. Again, if you're on a Mac, it's slightly different, but here I'm on a Windows machine, and say OK, and then say finished. So at this point, what it should do is it should bring in this new project. The first thing that I like to do is I like to edit app.yaml. I have to explicitly say edit with text editor, or else it'll open up Notepad++ on me. So one change we're going to make is obviously to change the app.yaml. And then if you open up main.py, we'll talk about what's in here, but you can see that there's another place where you need to put in your username. And to be honest, before I talk about it, let's just go ahead and run it and see what happens. So if you right click on it and you say run as PyDev Google App Engine run, and then once you've got it running, you can go visit localhost 8080 or however you've chosen to set up running App Engine apps. And some things should just work, like right out of the box. Like there should be some links for the App Engine track. And if you use the default name, like your movie quotes one should link to that. Your weather pick should link correctly. Your exam one will not link. That will not go anywhere yet. Guest book, grade recorder. I mean, a bunch of these should work. And we'll talk a little bit about how this works under the hood. But it should be pretty simple. You should also have kind of a placeholder for HTML basics. This one should not work, right? So it's going to try to use a file that doesn't exist yet. And so let's talk about how it works. And then there's some things for the project. So go ahead and open up Eclipse, the main.py again, and let's talk about it a little bit. So what I've done for you here is I've made a simple, a very, very, very simple template. So if you want to, you can go look at the template that provides all these different links to places, the things that you've done in the course. So what this template does is it makes links using this tracks variable that you pass in. So you pass in a variable called tracks, and it goes through and it makes links for you. So if you kind of come back over here, you can see that ultimately what's getting passed in is a username and the tracks. The tracks are kind of built up, right? So there's different tracks in this class. There's an App Engine track, a CSS track, a JavaScript track, endpoints track, and a project track. Right now we finished the App Engine track, and we're just starting in on the CSS track. And so that's kind of where we're at, right? But you can see that I've gone ahead and put some things in here for you. So movie quotes, weather picks, I know what those URLs are. The only thing I didn't know is your username, which is why you set that variable up here. Things like exam one, go ahead and put in whatever your exam was. So for some people, it's lost and found. That's one of the exams that they did. And then you have to put in the app ID. So in this case, it was lost and found. But, you know, put in whatever your exam was. And then there's also things for the projects. And so what I want you to do is I want for you to actually like figure out what is the link to your product idea sheet and go ahead and put it there. The Ninja mock for your mobile app, the drawing for your data store model, and then some things you probably haven't done yet, some more placeholders. So you can see that there are two types of links. There's the ones that just are links, right? So kind of all the ones in blue here are just links. And then the ones we're going to start using more are these ones that are actually list of exercises. The big difference is these link to wherever in the world, right? They just are links. And then these are static files that we're going to add. So if you look at the comments in this, you can see that these tuples for links are added to where you say, what is the text that I want displayed? Is this a static folder or is it just an individual link? If it is an individual link, you just give what the link is, right? So that's the simple case. I also put one of the static exercise folders in here. So this HTML basics, is it a folder? And this one says true. Where is this folder at in my static folder? You can see that there is no static folder now. You should actually probably go ahead and say new folder and just go ahead and make a static folder. And then what we're going to do is as we do exercises, we're going to put things into this static folder. So eventually there's going to be an HTML basic folder, and then inside that there'll be a tag practice. You don't have to make those yet. We'll do those once we actually do that unit. And it says that there are 10 exercises. So don't worry about that these don't actually work yet. So the rest of this is a lab, which you should be able to finish on your own. So you can read through the info on the lab. And once you've got as many links working as you can, so from the project in your exam one, go ahead and submit your URL. that's it for the initial lab. We've now got a place where we can start putting stuff. And in the next unit, we'll actually put some stuff there. All right. See you next time. Bye.